Movies and TV as propaganda during the Cold War. One of the main goals of the superpowers involved in the Cold War, the US and USSR, was to convince as many people as they could that their ideas were the right ones. Media had evolved from print and radio to projections and screens in 1941, making it easier to spread ideas more clearly than before. One could now have a clear picture of the message that was trying to be transmitted. Through movies and TV, the message could be heard and seen at the same time, compacting the benefits of radio and print into only one better, clearer, and more exciting experience. The US and USSR saw this as an opportunity to attack each other by portraying the opposite country however they wished to. This was a quicker and more effective way of spreading news and ideas, with the purpose of changing the way in which someone thinks about something. But it had its trick. To win a debate, one has to have a strong argument with strong evidence, and that's all. But to change the way someone looks and thinks about something through movies is much more difficult. People go to the cinema because they enjoy doing so, not because they want to learn about politics. It was required to entertain the audience without directly involving politics, by leaving a clear message about what was trying to be transmitted, but covering it up with the thrill one expects to encounter when going to the cinema. The US had a huge advantage over the USSR in this aspect, since they already had experience with movies and television from the Roaring '20s, while the Soviets did not. The USSR failed at entertaining their crowd by showing politics constantly throughout their films. Thus, Soviet film production was less effective and popular. On the other hand, the US had mastered the art of influence through movies and television. In fact, the country made many movies that are still recognized nowadays. Their movies were mainly about nuclear attacks, the ongoing war between the US-USSR, or about espionage. Nuclear attacks were a big threat present during this time period. The US manipulated citizens' beliefs by representing a nuclear attack on the United States by the USSR, and displayed, through movies, the level of devastation it would have on the country. Which is ironic considering the US government blew up over 150 million innocent Japanese civilians. Movies would also show fights between the United States and the USSR, between capitalism and communism, portraying US soldiers as heroes and USSR soldiers as unmerciful killers. This would make ordinary civilians who did not know anything besides the information provided by the media, which was also controlled by the government, look at the Soviets as monsters. Espionage became the most popular genre during the Cold War. These type of movies made sure US citizens distrusted any person who even looked like a Soviet, and vice versa. They showed how the enemy could be disguised as someone who looked like an ordinary person and attack the country from the inside. Some of the movies made during this time period include Spies Like Us, The Hunt for Red October, Rocky IV, I Spy, Failsafe, and The Man from U.N.C.L.E. Television was also important, because even though movies could be more effective, not everyone went to the cinema. Nevertheless, nearly everyone had a television, where TV shows like Airwolf, a very popular TV show at the time, and ads were broadcasted. An ad that produced a huge commotion in US citizens was the Daisy Girl ad, which was used in the presidential campaign of Lyndon Johnson against Barry Goldwater. Barry supported the use of nuclear weapons as a way of dealing with the war, and Lyndon's campaign used that against him by creating the Daisy Girl ad. This ad showed a 3-year-old girl who counted as she plucked petals from a daisy.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
voice was replaced by a mission countdown, followed by the typical mushroom-shaped explosion a nuclear bomb produces. Three-year-old girl? Dead. The message was clear. Barry Goldwater was a man who threatened the world's future. Even though the ad was only broadcasted once, it impacted US citizens greatly, raising their awareness of what may happen if they voted for the wrong person. Months later, Lyndon Johnson won the elections easily and became the US president. Television as propaganda during the Cold War was also used in schools. A short film called Duck and Cover was shown to all students around the US. The film gave instructions of what to do in case a nuclear bomb was dropped anywhere in the country. It gave examples of different situations one could be in when a bomb was dropped nearby, in which one had to duck and find cover in order to stay safe. The instructions were given with the company of a turtle called Bert and his melody. This would supposedly make the film more appropriate and fun for the young students who watched it. It can finally be concluded and proved by the past facts that movies and TV during the Cold War played a major role as propaganda and were used to influence the opinions and mindset of ordinary citizens. In fact, the rivalry and negative thoughts that it created about the enemy are still present today due to the impact TV and movies produced on its audience in the past.